Words of significance, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sir Twiggy, and welcome back to the Project Zomboid Survival Guide, episode number 2. The focus today is going to be on warehouses and kind of migrating around the city. As a side note, before we get started here, I just wanted to say that Project Zomboid itself will have a tutorial in it, just a basic tutorial for movement and stuff. That'll come in a future update. And the other thing I wanted to correct was last episode I was talking about starting in random locations, but that's random locations within the predetermined world that's created by the Indie Stone. And here we go. We're off to the races. Day number 2. Alrighty. So we're sleeping through the night. We're actually still at that diner, if you'll recall from last episode. And the plan is to move out, move to the north, and try to find warehouses that I know there should be a warehouse near here. It should be near that school, actually, we passed the other day. And besides that, to do some basic looting, get maybe some more foodstuffs, some books, things that'll carry us forward into our first week in Project Zomboid. So as you can see here, we're actually moving up the street and we're trying to locate that warehouse. It seems... Oh, I forgot to mention moodlets to you guys. That's something I just remembered. You should notice up there that we just got rid of the exhausted moodlet. That's caused by running too much exertion. It's important to remember. As you can see there, we just got a little bit freaked out and then a little bit more freaked out when the moodlet shook. That's telling us that, you know, we're scared by it all. Our accuracy is going to drop. Our ability to reload is going to drop. A lot of little things are affected by these moodlets, so you really need to keep an eye out and see how many you have up there and how heavy they are. Because you can see there now, I'm now nearing exhaustion, I'm peckish, and I'm really freaked out. So all of those factors compounding are really bad for you. Now, I'm over the exhaustion, which is great, which means we can move forward. Run away, so to speak. I should also mention, guys, this is a really dangerous area of town. I did mention it last episode, but the police station and I have a very sordid past. I think there's one case, and this would be the second case, where I actually came close to the police station and survived. I tend to die if I even get close to that place. There's such thick zombie hordes. There's alarms going off in this part of the city. As you can see, there's a fucking huge horde migrating now. It's brutal. It's just a brutal area of town. Altogether, avoid the police station unless you really know you can get in and out of there safely. Few other things I wanted to mention just while we're walking through town and trying to ignore this alarm. I took a couple notes about things that I should have mentioned last time, but I kind of didn't. So, as you can see here, we're actually cutting over to the east. We're going to try and find that secondary road and find that warehouse. But while we're searching, there are 3 sides to your sneaking ability. It's not just sneak, alright? So sneaking, your sneaking skill per se, if you had 2 in sneaking skill, well that means you're much harder to see than someone without those skill points sneaking. But there's also light-footed, which means you're harder to hear than another person who's sneaking. And then there's also your Nimble Skill, which determines how quickly you sneak, as compared to, say, your run speed or your walk speed. So the higher your Nimble Skill, the faster you can sneak around and still be just as effective. So you could have a character who has 5 in light-footed and 5 in sneak, and they are super sneaky, but they're slow. You know, they're slow sneakers. It takes them time to do that. But you could also have a character who had 5 nimble and, say, 2 or 3 in light-footed or sneaking. And then you end up with someone who's much more mobile, can sneak more quickly, but maybe not as well. So it's all about how you choose to balance your points. So as you can see here, we made it to the warehouse. These are actually 2 warehouse-type buildings. The one here I'm entering on the left first is fairly locked, so we'll make our own way in. Ba-bam, bam. Done like dinner. Generally, I don't encourage that type of looting, but as you can see here, there's not a lot of zombies in the area. There's a door in between me and that broken window. So we do have a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of play here. So the first thing you're going to see me do is go through all these shelves. Now, many people will say shelves are useless. They're not. Okay? Shelves are one of the few places you can find screwdrivers, and screwdrivers become very, very important in the late game. Crates are your best friend in this game. Everything of excellence, pretty much, you can find in a crate. So shotguns, shotgun shells, buckets, plaster, planks, nails, hammer, axe, saw, everything you want, you're pretty much going to find in these crates. Now, it's a luck chance type drop deal. So if you don't fall in that percentage of the drop that you need, tough luck. You're going to have to keep searching more crates. And another thing to mention and to be aware of is that if crates are hidden behind crates, you can't always get at them, and there is no way at this moment in time to destroy the crates in the front to get to the crates in the back. So you have to just loot as much as you can reach. As you can see here, I'm taking the time to go around and check all the crates, double check them. Oh, there's a few zombies outside. We're just going to take a moment here now. We're going to run across and see what the state of this one is, and it's locked. So we have to force our way in. Unfortunately, all we have is a baseball bat, or sorry, not a baseball bat, in actuality, is actually a golf club. So it's not even as strong as a baseball bat, even though it looks like one. That's just a tile animation issue deal. So as you can see, as I smacked on the door, it drew all the zombies around to me, because I'm making big bangs and noises and shit. So I ducked out, and I came back in here to just look for a better weapon. Now, that golf club will take that door down eventually, but not with haste. So we need a better weapon. A hammer, again, probably not much faster. Screwdriver. What did I tell you about screwdrivers? And what did I tell you about double and triple checking? Okay, so we double or triple checked that shelf, and we found a very rare item, the screwdriver, which will save our life later on down the line. And I'm talking about months down the road, guys. We'll see that thing come to our aid. I'll probably take an episode to go over some of that camping stuff. But just for now, we're going to skip over it. So I think what I'm looking for now is a crowbar, which is probably going to be the strongest thing in here. I know I saw one. It'll be poked away in one of these shelves, I'm sure. So as a side note here, I know we're going from one warehouse to another. There was not a lot of good loot in this one. There was some. I mean, there was the nails, there was the hammer. We're going to get a crowbar now in a second, I believe, if I can find it. There we go, crowbar. So, we'll equip that as our primary, and we are going to go over and smash that door out. Unfortunately, that also over-encumbered us. So we're going to have to do a little bit of item management, which is not the greatest, especially in the middle of the day when you want to be out looting. You don't want to waste time with item management when there's sunlight out. Alright, if you have to waste time with item management, better it be in the night. Or a rainy day when you can't get out to do things. That's something else I should mention. Rain, very real threat. We haven't seen much of it in this playthrough yet, in our first, well, day and a half so far. But rain will make you wet, which makes you run slower, which eventually you'll get stuck in the, you'll be running slower and slower in the rain until you get drenched, and then there's a chance you can get sick. Getting sick is atrocious. You cough, you sneeze, you make noise, and you can't really control it unless you have a specific item, the tissue, in, I think, either a primary or a secondary slot. And that will result in you sneezing or coughing into the tissue rather than making noise, but the tissue breaks down. So again, eventually you'll run out of tissues and you'll be noisy. So that's atrocious. You want to avoid that at all costs. If you get stuck out in the rain for a little bit, you start getting wet, it's not too bad. Try and make it indoors as fast as you can, or have a towel on your person or a dish towel. So there's full-on towels and there's dish towels. Either one you can dry yourself off with. And that's great. So we're out of here. We got our inventory a little bit managed. Oh my fucking god, get off me. No. Okay. And we are damaged, but not scratched or bitten. So this is very important for everyone to note. Alright? Just because you've been scratched, or it looks like you've been scratched or bitten, does not mean you have been. Make sure you push C on your keyboard. Click on the health tab, and check. Do not just assume, I heard a noise, I must be bitten, time to kill my character. No. I know there's a broken leg icon there. I know we're in pain. I know we're winded, but I also know we're not scratched or bitten. Alright? He hurt us. He smacked us around, but he has not bitten or scratched, which means we're fine. We're going to be a little bit hurt for a while. We're going to have to eat some food and get that back. But overall, we're okay. So, what I'm doing here, actually, guys, is I'm trying to hoard these zombies away so I can actually have enough time to smash that door in and get in there and get at my loot. Because this is the bigger of the two warehouse locations at the south of the city. Now, there's obviously much larger warehouses in the center of the city and to the north, but when you're on the south side, this is your best bet, and there it goes. So it took more than a bit of smacking around, but we got in, and that's the main thing. So here we're going to see me loot. I'm going to go through all the crates. I might double check them until I find the things I'm looking for. So, our main focus today, hit the warehouses and look for what? Well, I haven't really told you much yet, have I? So here we go. Our main focus is going to be hammer and nails, axe and saw. Those are the main things I try to concentrate on when I'm in a warehouse. Now, depending on my circumstance, there might be other things that I want to get a lot of. I might want to find 4 tent pegs. You know, that might be part of my goals. I want to make a tent, so I need 4 tent pegs. So that might be part of your focus. That might be something you grab. But in general, I suggest that you have an idea of what you want before you come here. Because if you just see everything and start grabbing everything, well, they're going to wind up running home at your full, weight limit with things you don't really need. Lots of things you don't really need, and none of the things you wanted. Or none of the things that you wind up needing. So take the time to think, figure out what it is you want. Now, most cases, it's going to be just that. Axe, hammer, nails, and a saw. Because that'll allow you to continue your construction, to move on to fortifying a base. But there are other things here, too, that you might be focused on. You might be focused on finding a trowel. You might be focused on finding a gardening can. You might be focused on finding a gardening spray bottle. There are a lot of things, a lot of different categories of loot that are going to be in these warehouses that you want at some point in time. But you have to know what you need when. So in my case, the first thing I was going for was carpentry supplies in our first day. First day complete. Sorry about that. Got distracted by a second there. So as you can see, I grabbed myself the door knob and the door hinge. There wasn't a lot else good in there for me. I didn't end up taking a whole pile of nails, because what's the point of carrying around 100 nails if I don't have the axe to cut lumber? And then the saw to make the planks. You gotta delegate your weight. As it was, I was pretty much over encumbered this morning, and I did a little bit of item hopping, a little bit of item management. Oh, that was a fucking crawler lunged at my legs. 2 of them. This be brutal. Alright, we got out of it. That's the main thing. That's the main thing. Alright, so a little bit of a brain fart there. So, one other thing I wanted to mention that I was talking about last episode, but I don't think I went into enough detail about, is when you're opening windows, I said tap E and hold it. Now, what I mean there is press E once and hold the button down. Do not tap E repeatedly. If you tap E repeatedly, regardless of what you have in your hand, you will smash the window. So, if you have nothing in your hand, for example, you have no primary weapon, and you smash the window, you're going to cut your hands up, and you're going to bleed all over the place. And that's a bad scene. You do not want that. So, as you can see here, guys, we've made it into like a little suburban area. It's all fenced in. These houses with the fences around them, they look like nice laid out houses with the nice hardwood flooring. They seem pretty, they're good places to loot, all right? Because they tend to have a couple bookshelves. They've got your groceries. They've got lots of good stuff usually. That's how you can tell. It's a nice closed-in neighborhood. That is a good sign to me that these houses are good for looting. The other really good sign is if the house is made of brick. Brick houses tend to be, in my experience, the best places to loot, because there's tons of bookshelves, there's lots of containers, there's lots of dressers and stands and stuff. So we had a quick poke through there, and we're moving on up the street, deeper into the neighborhood. See if there's anything good for us. And there were zombies in there, I believe. So we decided to move on again. So as I said, guys, not a lot of combat yet. I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't think we've killed a single zombie. This is a bit different for me, I know. But the truth is, why press your luck? I mean, I don't even have an axe in hand. Why would I try to smack a zombie around with a crowbar? There's no need. As long as I can escape and get away, that should be my focus. Not killing 100 zombies in week 1. Because if you get scratched in week 1 and then you die, well, then you're fucked. That's it. All your hard work is gone to nothing. Now, the same thing could happen on month 3 when you get scratched once. But at least then you've done some mitigation. You've gotten your better weapon. You've got your painkillers or your beta blockers, your high-tier bandages. We'll get into the higher-tier gear and stuff later on, guys. But for right now, we're focusing on finding our way around the town. And as you can see, I've just led you from one set of warehouses to this warehouse in the center of town. Now, bear in mind, guys, this place is much more dangerous to loot than on the southern side of the city or on the northern side of the city. When you're in the center of town, the zombie population is higher. Like, in the center of town, there are more zombies. That's all there is to it. So right now, not only do I have zombies at the front of the building, they're probably at the back of the building, and there's a good chance that they could be by my side exit, which is a really, really dicey, dangerous scene. So as you can see, I'm looking around, I'm poking through the crates as fast as I can to try and find the things I really need, and they came through the window, we're gone. That's it. You do not hesitate. When you hear glass break and you know it's in your building, or you even suspect it's in your building, get out. It's not worth losing a character to try and search one more crate. You had your window of opportunity, use it and get out. You can always come back and wait and see if it's clear or not. So here, we're actually moving further again to the north, and then we're cutting to the east. And here we are, people, some of the greatest looting in this game, the brick houses. This area of town has a lot of good shit, and actually on the other side of the road, off to the north, there's a medical clinic. But that's not going to be our focus right now. Now we're focusing on trying to find, well, better bags. That's important, too. I should have mentioned that, guys. And a baseball bat, so we've actually just upgraded our weapon. And not only do we have the baseball bat, but we should have a hammer and nails, too, so that we can make a nail ball bat. Ah, and I just noticed, it is 17:50 in the evening. It's getting late, and we are getting tired. Right now, I want you guys to just take a moment and look around. Look around the screen. Look how bright everything is. Look how easy it is to see. You might be thinking, we got lots of time to do whatever it is we need to do. To loot, to look around, maybe move further off to the north. No, you do not. Alright, guys? I want to make that perfectly clear. When that moodlet pops up, that you're getting tired, it's a serious sign. And it's a sign that I kind of ignore in this particular run, and it winds up causing me a lot of trouble. So, as you can see, it's getting late. 18:20 in the evening is actually 6:30 now in the evening. And by 8 o'clock, 2000 hours, it is dark, man. I'm telling you, it is dark. So watch now, in the very short span of time, how we go from being hunky-dory to in a whole lot of fucking trouble. In fact, we almost lose this character today. Shame to say, isn't it? 2 days in and almost lose a character. And this is part of the problem right here, is I trigger an alarm, or an alarm triggers somewhere, and I'm determined to get in this house. I don't let it go. And that's a problem. You have to know when to let it go. I'm thinking, like, I can lure these zombies out of the house somehow, or I can get them away from here, or... No. No. It's a bad plan. I should have just let it go and run to a different house to sleep for the night, because now I have less than an hour, and watch and see how dark it'll get. So again, I'm trying to lure the zombie out the window, trying to get it to come out the door, but no, nothing's working. So I say, okay, let's try another house. And trouble. So I have a quick look around, try and figure out where am I going to go, what am I going to do, where am I going to find another house. And it's too late. I can't get in that house. Can't get on the other side of it either. The horde is already moving. So what do? The least dangerous of all paths. Stay the fuck still. Now that sounds really weird in the middle of an alarm. Stand still. But if you're here in a spot like this, as you can see, I'm out of the flow of traffic. I'm out of the flow of zombies. That's important, because if I start running or walking around, it's going to make it worse. Now, obviously, I had to get out of there. But it was a good spot for as long as I could stay there, and I avoided a lot of the zombie train. So now, as you can see, very hard to see. My visibility is atrocious. I'm fully exhausted. This is what we like to call a bad motherfucking scene. There's an alarm just went off, there's hordes everywhere, I'm tired, I'm hungry, my food is not easily accessible because I very stupidly, which we're going to see in a second here, buried my food in bags and bags and bags. Not a good plan, Stan. So, another thing I'm going to suggest, guys, that I may not have done myself this episode, but I think you guys should in the future, keep a bag delegated, separate, on the surface level of your inventory with your food. So, I get lucky, very, very fucking lucky, and I managed to sneak into this house. If it weren't for this house, I probably would have died. Because if I go too far out, I'm going to end up with a zombie on me that I can't see. So, as a matter of fact, this was so time consuming that I time compressed times 8 to help you get through this. So here we go. 8 times time compression. This is me sorting my inventory and putting all my perishables in the fridge so they do not go bad, because I went last night without putting perishables in the fridge, and that's the end of day 2, peoples. So I hope that was all helpful, and if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to comment.